From Tally to Cali,
it's time
to wake up.
Wake up, wake up. Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One ball, Corner Pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Aslan Hajavandi. You've already heard that. That's Corey Clark. We are live here on this Thursday night for this edition of Wake Up Warchant, presented by our good friends at the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. But since we are live, we are supercharged, not only by the On3 Network, but our good friends over at DeLuna Coffee, DeLunaCoffee.com. Come explore our world of coffee. Promo code Warchant15 saves you 15% on your order. You cannot go wrong with any of these coffees. I promise you. Also promise you that Corey's going to be bringing the heat. He's got good picks. We almost match. Corey, everybody, witness practice, logged 7-on-7, logged 1-on-1s, logged 11-on-11, busted out an observation column for everybody, which is over on the website, which you should be subscribed to because it only costs $1 for an entire year, $365 once you sign up, only $1. It's over on the website. And then he got in the car, hauled it up to Beaufort, Georgia, Beaufort, Gwinnett, and is now in front of all of us here. So, Corey, we appreciate your you being on the grind this early in camp.
Hey, it's my pleasure, Aslan. It's my pleasure. And, you know, it's better than having a real job, right? It's better than having a real job. And we're done with this. I got to go. I shouldn't say I got to. I'm going to pick up Brady. Get to ask him how his first real day of high school went, because Wednesday was just for the freshmen. But then today it was all the big kids showed up too. So I'm genuinely curious how that went for him.
Okay. Well, you know, again, everybody could read your observations over on the website, which only costs $1 to subscribe to. But give me some of the good ones, man. Give me some of the juicy nuggets, some of the real thick meat on the bone that stood out to you on Thursday's practice.
Well, let's see here. Our man, do they call him Pac-Man? Jarquez McClellan?
Yes.
Number one. Yeah. He was all over the field, man. He had a really good day. He had four PBUs. Another tackle right when a kid caught it. He played really well. I think the biggest thing to me was that, speaking of safeties, is the two starters were out there. Didn't play the whole time because why would you? But they were out there for a good bit. Akeem Denton had an interception on 1-on-1s. Jamie Robinson looked like Jamie Robinson had a really good play on a run where it looked like a hole was there and with Cedric Benson, and he's like, no, there's not. And that was really, really impressive. He's an impressive player. And then, you know, the bad Deuce Spann, I thought, had a not good day. I thought it was his worst day of camp after being kind of one of the breakout guys, the surprise guy. I thought he, I don't want to say he took a step back, but he certainly didn't take a step forward. He had 2 or 3 drops, also stopped running a route on a third down play that might have been a first down if he'd have kept running the route, almost got it intercepted. But he's also young, right? These are the things you learn when you're, these are growing pains. And, I don't know how old a kid he is, but I know he's been playing wide receiver for about 15 minutes. So he's still learning the position. Hopefully he bounces back and has a much better day on Friday. And Micah Pittman, there's another one. I didn't get to read Tom's trench observations, so I don't know who exactly stood out for him. But Micah Pittman, I thought, had by far his best day. He looked like the guy that he was in the spring. And I'm not saying he's been terrible so far. He just hasn't made those big game-changing, scoreboard-changing type plays so far through the first week. He hadn't had a ton of at-bats either. It's not like he's dropping wide-open touchdowns or they keep throwing it to him and he doesn't catch it. But on Thursday, he had 3 touchdowns, including 1 in 11-on-11. He had a diving catch for a touchdown in 7-on-7s, which is just, he just looked like Micah Pittman again.
All right. Well, speaking of looking like Micah Pittman again, I want to bring this on the screen right here because Nole Fan 407 said Micah looked angry on that rep you recorded today, Aslan, LOL, which I would say accurate. They're hitting the sled here, and Duquense is coaching him up. Nice. And then just throws it at me. I mean, I don't know what that's all about, Micah. We try to plug your YouTube channel. People talk about subscribe to our YouTube channel, but also support the players that have YouTube channels. Yeah, man, just throwing a sled at me.
I think there's some people that are like, yeah, I wish he'd have hit him. I would be cool if you had a rivalry with Micah Pittman. It'd be a rivalry. Just going to split the fan base. It's going to be so divisive. He's got a little what for to him. You don't say anything mean about Micah Pittman. Maybe he's just ornery because he hadn't had a great camp so far, but he certainly was good on and maybe that's how he has to play, Aslan. He has to play like that. He has to play with an edge and with anger. But whatever the case was, he was good on Thursday for sure.
Yeah, I felt they were a little sluggish overall. I mean, part of that was due to the fact that they did not have, some of the guys on the offensive line that they want. Now, don't panic. And a lot of people did because of the comments that Coach Norvell made after practice, and where he pointed out the fact that they didn't have offensive linemen. We don't know the extent of anything, but we didn't see anything major. We saw all those guys at some point in practice. So we would think that it's probably precautionary, just happened to be a bunch of guys kind of in the same vicinity, if you will, not being able to be out there, which affected sort of the tempo and what they were able to, not the tempo, but just the rhythm they were able to try to get.
Look, man, we don't think anything is serious, and we're not going to name names or name depth charts, but let's just say that they were working really on fourth string and fifth string options at one particular position, and all of a sudden the quarterbacks couldn't get the ball back to them. Sorry.
You're doing so good, Corey.
I know. But the point being that it's hard to judge how an offense is doing when snaps are like that. And they were not great. There were probably 8 snaps that were just that just weren't caught. Either they were horrible snaps, which were most of them, or maybe one was dropped. But, you only get a finite number of plays in a practice. And if 7 or 8 or 9 are not even getting to where the quarterback can make a play, or even if it gets to him, but he has to catch it down by his ankle. And then that ruins the whole timing of the play. It's hard to operate an offense like that. So that's all we're saying. All we're saying now.
Back to Micah Pittman. There was a moment in that practice where, again, Mike Norvell wears his emotions on his sleeve. We're going to pull up a question from the Renegade Express that we weren't able to get to that kind of talks a little bit about it, or I can kind of tie it into it. But, man, they just weren't having a good practice offensively. They weren't able to get into a rhythm because of the aforementioned issues that Corey deftly illustrated.
Very deftly.
But, Keyshawn Helton made this fantastic diving catch, like next to the sideline, and that got Norvell super excited. And then they pretty much transitioned to a different period of practice, and that's where Micah Pittman kind of went off with back-to-back catches for touchdowns. And then he had a touchdown later on, like in one of the final periods of practice, where I think he might be one of the only guys who been able to catch a ball in that sort of traffic and get upfield quick enough, and then basically you have no shot of tackling him in the open field. So he's trying to get some really good things. So that was probably one of the biggest perks of the day, and our biggest perk of the day. Let's go. Here we go. It's time, Corey. It's time. It's starting up already. Here's Joe. What? Joe! Come on. Every show. Big
Old
bang.
JD. He says he hopes to see us at practice in Jackson. Joel, you're the man. You know that. You certainly don't have to do this. But we very much appreciate it. Says he's going to be at practice on Friday. So, yeah, you should see Aslan and I. We'll be over there Friday in Jacksonville. For the people that don't know, Joel, again, you are the man. I can't wait to see you. Let me buy you, a soda or something. It's going to be early in the morning. I can't buy you a beer at 9:30, but I'll buy you a coffee. Well, how about we'll bring DeLuna coffee for Joel? Aslan, do that. Take some DeLuna coffee over. I was going to say,
should I bring the pillar so he can sign it finally?
Oh, is he not on? He's not on there?
Oh,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely take that over. And I was going to say, I don't know if they let do they let fans watch, Aslan?
I remember last year, it was a lot of booster types, people connect.
That's what I'm going to say, because Joel isn't just a fan. They will let him. They've done it before. When Joel can sit in the coach's box if he wants to. He can hang out with Norvell for a day if he wants to. So, yeah, he will have no time watching that practice. I just didn't know if it was open to the public. But either way, on the 11th and 12th, right, next week, the Thursday and Friday of next week, they're practicing at North Florida for a couple days. So Aslan and I will be over there repping Warchant.
I think it's going to be the first time you and I are on the road together since, I want to say, 19 Clemson game.
Yeah, probably, buddy. Probably. We're going to get after it. What are we going to do? Which Hooters are we hitting?
Come on, let's go. We're going to go to the Hooters on the river, man. We're going to go to
it's the one landing, right? That's still there, I'm sure. Yeah, the
Hooters on the landing, man. Of course. Where else would you go when you're in Jacksonville, Florida, man? Get some. All right, let's pivot back here if I can get back to our website, which remains warchant.com. Again, head over there, sign up for an entire year for only $1. It's our guy, Mark, M. Adams sees. I'm sure he'll show up later today, though, because that's what he does. Thank you, by the way, Joel. I didn't say thank you. Thank you, Joel. We appreciate you, man.
The air horn is thank you enough.
Yeah. Your son, by the way, great kid, helping us out here on the show. We appreciate him. All right, so Mark says, Corey's math explanation on why it's better to pay $1 for a year as compared to $1 for 4 months was a deal clincher for me.
Great.
So,
good.
But yeah, he kept his handle the same. All right, so he's hoping for steady progress. He doesn't want the spikes, the ups and downs. He wants steady progress. He says in recent interviews with Coach Norvell after practice, he seems more at ease and confident. Are you sensing that? He does I don't want to say that he's, putting on a brave face, but I'm telling you, he wears his anguish on his face during practice. And it's not because they're horrible or anything like that, but he just demands such excellence from them. And when they miss things, they miss it by a fraction, and it gets him really frustrated. And you can kind of see him, wearing that on his sleeve, but not a sore loser, like sulking and slumping his shoulders kind of a thing. But then when we talk to him, I'm always kind of curious, how is he going to present what he thinks he saw at practice today? And then he kind of lets you know that, went pretty well. So I'm kind of learning how to gauge what I'm seeing with my eyes, because what he says afterwards sometimes doesn't line up with what I see, but I'll take his word for it. It's his program. He knows what he's
but I feel like he was the same last year. Like, I feel like this was him after practice. He seemed to say, or no, he's not. He didn't say the same things. He definitely thinks they're better this year. That's obvious. He said as much. But I felt like his mannerisms, his confidence felt the same after the practices last year as they do now. I think in practice, Aslan's right. Like today especially, the receivers were pretty horrible for the first half of practice. I think everybody but Keyshawn and Johnny Wilson actually were the only two that didn't drop passes. Johnny Wilson caught everything thrown his way. So did Keyshawn, and had that diving catch, like a 30-yarder from A.J. Duffy. It was a great catch on the sidelines. Good throw, too, to like a little – he got it in between two people. But, so I think he was pretty anguished by what he was seeing just from the offense in the first half of the day. And, yeah, he wears it on his sleeve. He's not excited about it. But then he can completely – when somebody makes a good play, he certainly celebrates with them.
Yeah, so – Noel Tonio points out that he thinks that Coach Norvell definitely used to sound a bit anxious in interviews. I think he is just better at talking with the FSU media now. So
again, though, let's see what he's like after the first loss or two. You know what I mean? I mean, they're coming. I'm just being a realist. Obviously, we know losses are coming. And let's see what that look. What he looks like then. I think he'll be just. His most famous answer was after losing another game to start 0-4 last year. So let's see what he looks like and what his mannerisms and his confidence are like after they lose a game, because they will. Spoiler alert, gang, they are going to lose a game. And I'll get cold takes exposed here. If they go 14 or 15-0 this season, I'll wear this little clip. He can play it on a loop, but they are going to lose a game this year. So let's see how he's after that, because all coaches seem to give off an air of confidence on August 4th.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to our guy, Mark Sermons, who asks, who's the most improved player on offense and defense since last year, and what will be different in play calling now that Norvell will be handling these duties? Thank you. I don't feel we've seen much difference in terms of like what they're scripting and calling in practice and running, Corey. I mean, do you?
No.
Same, kind of sets, if you will, same formations largely. I mean, we're not going to go into what
it's his offense, just like it was last year and the year before, but he will actually be calling the plays. And to be honest with you, Mark, I'm not trying to just punt this question. We'll know after the first couple games, right? Like, it's hard to these practices look the exact same as they did last year, as terms of, they do third down, they do a drill with third down, they do a drill with first down, they do actual scrimmages where if they get a first down, they keep going. And it seems about, it's probably a little more pass heavy than it will be in a game, just because you're trying to get the quarterbacks and receivers on the same page. But it seems about the same to me so far. Oh, thank you, Mark.
Shout out to Mark dropping $10 in
Buddy.
there, man. Try to get to the question earlier, but we love you, man.
Who do you think's the most improved?
Man, offensively, I kind of want to defer to you on that. Maybe I would say defensively, I guess I would say Jarian Jones, at least at this early juncture. I mean, again, he's a guy that we kind of left for dead, and he's kind of factoring. He's in the mix right now and pushing guys that are possibly in front of him. But offensively, I mean, it's really tough to say. I can't think of. I mean, Malik McClain, I thought's had some good moments, but he had some good moments last year in practice too. It's not like he's gone out there and dominated every single day. I almost want to say like Maurice Smith, just because he's, seems like he's fending things off well from the competition behind him. But there's nobody that really jumps to the front of my mind when it comes to the offense. What about you, Corey?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And this is somebody that's probably not going to, you might not play a meaningful snap all season, but Tate Rodemaker?
No, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair.
But, that's not something that's going to get anybody really excited because he is still firmly the backup quarterback. But as far as from August of last year, if that's what we're talking about, like August or the first week of practice, first 9 days of practice last year to this year, I would say Tate Rodemaker. He's also getting a ton of more reps than he did last year because, obviously there was a battle for the starting quarterback position. He wasn't in it. And, really he was the fourth stringer last year.
Matthew Sims asks, are you still bullish on Tate? I mean, I'll answer. I never was. I think I finally am starting to come around to it. I mean, Jeff and Corey were really excited about what he had been doing in the spring. And I was like, I don't know, man. Let's see him do it in a game. Let's see him do it in the Garnet and Gold game. But the fact that he's been able to carry that over into these, first 7 practices, I'm a believer now, man. I just like sort of he's not out there like taking bad chances. He's not throwing balls, but he's not scared, man. He definitely seems to have a little bit more comfortability under his feet now versus, especially after what we saw from him as a true freshman in 2020, which was a really unenviable
impossible.
position.
Not that you can't be a good quarterback as a true freshman. We see that more and more. With that offensive line and that receiving core to be thrown into that, it was an impossible situation for him. And so I'll give an example. On Tuesday, he had the really good day. He had an incredible drive, but I just thought it was sharp the whole day. The only bad throw he made was kind of rolling to his left, a little side armor, the middle of the field, where he threw it behind the kid. Now maybe he felt like he had to throw it sidearm to get it around the defender, but he threw it behind him and Travis J almost intercepted it. It was like deflected off. The kid had to make a pass breakup to keep Travis J from intercepting like a 15-yard throw because he had threw it behind him. Today, very similar situation, still rolls to his left, whips a side armor about 15 yards to Portier. Really, really good play, man.
Yes.
And it was a really impressive throw, again, with somebody in his face, rolling to his left, throwing this way. It's like one of those throws you just see, please, don't clip this. I'm not comparing him to this guy, but it looked like one of those crazy Mahomes throws where some guys just have that natural ability. You know what I mean? Like some guys just have a natural ability from different arm angles to make a throw and get it there. Now look, jury's out. He might be the next Patrick Mahomes, Aslan. You've been saying that since day one.
There's a Venn diagram and there's overlap between those two gentlemen.
Sure. It's a little tiny sliver right now, but I will say I'm excited about the progress he's making, but we all know how it is, man. If he goes out and plays in a game or two and does not play well, I hate to say it, but it could all be for naught. Like it could all be lost. Like if the confidence can get ripped away after a couple, maybe one bad throw in a game or 2 bad throws in a game, then so I'm going to hold out on saying I'm a believer. Like he can be a starting quarterback and a winning starting quarterback at this level till I see him do it under lights. But man, he is so much better than he was this time a year ago.
All right. Sky Ninja's here, everybody.
Best profile pick on here, man. Thank you, Sky Ninja.
Yeah. So we talked about Tate. Obviously, Jordan is who Jordan is. How does AJ Duffy look? Also, how do the tight ends look?
The tight ends are, there's
they're out there.
They're out there. There's a lot of backups getting a ton of reps right now. I will say Marquise Douglas has been the best of the bunch, probably. I thought Jackson West had a solid day today, I guess, but there's nothing that the only thing that from a pass catching standpoint, and again, I'm not the guy to talk to about how they're blocking on the edge because it's just hard to tell. Chris Thompson would be able to tell us who's their best blocker is, who's doing a good job there, or Norvell. I'm not the guy. So when you're talking about their pass catching ability and what they can do in the passing game, Brian Courtney to me is the only one that really excites you, but he's at least a year away. He's a true freshman. He played quarterback in high school. He's 230 pounds. He probably needs to be about 245 or 250. He is an athlete. He can move. He's got good ball skills. He's just not big enough, but he's the one that excites you about maybe potentially being something in the passing game. As far as the other guys that have been here longer, they have not looked great. But that's not a surprise either, is it?
Well, I'm going to steal this from somebody in the comments section from a podcast or two ago. I mean, that dude up in Athens, that Brock Bowers guy, 6'4", 230. And I mean, he's not Brock Bowers, Brian Courtney, but I understand what you're saying about the size thing. But I mean, man, he can chip. We don't need him to go out there and hold off and fend off, like a strong side defensive end. But I mean, if he has to help out, he can chip on a strong side defensive end. But like somebody that's 245, 250 coming off the edge, a 230-pound tight end should be able to hold up into that. I mean, I think he's right around that. I think he's right around that sort of body type,
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't look at Bowers and then look at him.
But you look at Tate Rodemaker and you see Patrick Mahomes.
I know, right? No, I said he threw it. It was one throw, man. It's like, David Dulkes for one day looked like Larry Bird. He wasn't. I just, when I see Bowers, I just see a more physical presence. Bowers is incredible, by the way. He might be the best tight end. He is the best tight end in the country. As a receiver, I don't know what he's like as a blocker, though. I mean, maybe Brian Courtney can be something like that early on, where he's a pass catcher. It'll be interesting to see. I mean, it's a good point. I mean, Bowers he doesn't look like a Greek god. But he can maybe be a guy that on 3rd and 8, and he's not blocking. He can stay in. He can go run you some routes.
All right, let's hop back over to the Tribal Council from our Wake Up Warchant Renegade Express thread. Jolin Cones, wake up. I know everyone asked about the final record, but I'm curious about thoughts of a midseason record. With everything you've seen at practice so far, do you think we'll be 5-4 after Miami? I think that's the most likely scenario heading into Syracuse week, with a chance to win 3 in a row and finish 8-4. What are your thoughts?
You go first.
All right. 5-4 at that point. I mean, 3 win, going up to Cuse, 5-4 after Miami. I mean, I think you beat Duquesne. I think you beat LSU. I mean, worst case, you go 1-2 in those next 3. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think maybe because if I say they're going to be 6-3 instead of 5-4, okay, I know. I'm sorry. All that rambling. I will say 5-4 because the Miami game just scares me. Just a little bit nervous about that one. A lot nervous about that one. But I don't know if they win 3 in a row though. I mean, but yeah, you can beat Syracuse, you can beat Louisiana, you can beat Florida. That's not murderer's row by any. I'm sold. There we go. I'm done. Sorry, Corey, you go. I'm done. I'm on there. I'm on it. That sounds.
You're saying 5-4 or 6-3?
5-4, and then you win 3 in a row to close out the year at 8-4.
Okay. All right. Hey, I'm there with you. Maybe I'll say 6-3 just to be different. But hey, man.
Then what? That means 9. So it'll be 9-3 to finish the year.
Maybe they lose to Florida.
Yeah,
oh, is he? I'm not saying they're going to win 3 in a row. I don't know that they're going to finish off the year with 3 straight wins. Okay. But yeah, I would think the likelihood is probably 5-4. If you're 6-3, you're going to like what's happened for the most part, I think.
Duquesne and Georgia Tech and Louisiana, I think, are the only games that Florida State as like at a 65-35 or better odds.
Sure. And we really don't. It's probably true with Georgia Tech, but we don't know, do we? We don't really know. Georgia Tech might actually take a step this year finally. I mean, I don't think so. They lost their best running back, but you never know. But yes, probably those 3. Yes, and I say Boston College at home is probably 60-40 if I had to handicap that right now, where you're favored. I would think all the other ones are legitimately 7 points either way.
I mean, that Syracuse game up in the Carrier Dome could be tricky too, man. I'm not being sarcastic. It really could at this point. So
No, it's a road game, man.
Yeah.
How many games has this team won on the road last 3 years? Not many.
well, UNC, ask Mac about us.
Ask Mac Brown. Ask Sam Howell. Ask Benedict Arnold.
Alan First Straw, longtime watcher, 2-year paid member, and he's back with us over on warchant.com. So thanks, Alan. Sam McCall, haven't heard his name mentioned since the start of fall. He looked really good in the spring game, looked like a shoo-in for a returner. Am I missing something? Is he injured? Did he quit? Is he underperforming? What's his status on the team? Anyone can answer this. Thanks in advance, even if I was too dumb to read it someplace else. Oh, don't say that, Alan. He had a nice PBU today, I think, in that sort of red zone drill where, again, this was kind of, they had a bit of a lull, and then, Keyshawn has a good play. Micah Pittman, Johnny Wilson have some real good plays. And then the defense kind of strikes back, and Sam McCall had a PBU, and Adam Fuller and Mike Norvell hustled over to him and were slapping his helmet, and we're really excited.
In the end zone, right?
Yes.
And I think some of that is, you guys know this, if you have kids or if you've ever coached anything, like if I think they made a point of making Sam McCall feel good about himself, because maybe he hasn't felt great about himself through the first week of practice. And that's normal. Not everybody is R.E.A. Thomas. Freshman cornerbacks typically do struggle when they're covering these kind of athletes for the first time. So he has not, to me, looked like a guy that probably will play a lot at corner this season. But yeah, as far as kick return, he's working back there, but we have no idea. They have not gone live. And when they do in a scrimmage, we won't be able to see it. I don't know if they'll actually even do any live kick returns until the season starts. So I think he will play if they get big enough leads, and like Duquesne, I think he can get on the field. I don't necessarily think the plan is to redshirt him, because why would you? People don't really redshirt anymore. But I don't foresee him, unless there's a rash of injuries, I don't foresee him really challenging for one of the rotation spots at corner. Not this year.
Yeah. Our guy Wes in the Villages, I don't know if he deleted his comment or I think he wanted us to maybe see. Yeah, here we go. I know you guys can't say who, but apparently 2 offensive linemen got injured in practice. Can you comment on your personal thoughts if it seemed bad or not? Coach seemed bothered when he spoke about it. That's the second time I've seen somebody classify it as that, as him seeming bothered.
Don't you think the bother is because of the reason I said? Like, it wasn't like, oh, God, we lost.
Yes, it affected the way they practiced today. I think
Correct.
That's what he was upset about. I don't think he's upset about their long-term prospects. It's that it did not give him a very good Thursday of practice as a head football coach.
Right. There were just too many plays where, it just the play couldn't even really be started because the ball struggled to get back to the quarterback.
Oh, man. All right. Noel Tonio's back. Be honest, guys. Are we better at wide receiver?
Oh, they're better. They're not good enough yet. I still don't think they're good enough yet. And I'm not trying to bring up. I was driving. I had a lot of time to think. Plus, my phone died, so I had a lot of time to think on the drive up. And I just started thinking about. And I'm not trying to make people feel bad. I'm not trying to, get tears flowing. But if they had Travis Hunter, if they just had a dude like that is an electric playmaker out wide, that can take a 12-yard play and take it to the house, can beat you for a 60-yard pass down the sideline. Just a dynamic, and I think he would have played wide receiver here as well as corner. Just a dynamic dude out wide. I don't know that there's any dynamic out there right now. Not yet. Not maybe the best guys are the young guys. I think Pittman, they're better though. Like, there was nothing dynamic at all about the group last year. They are better than they were last year, and some of these guys might take a step and be 50 catch guys, I guess, or 40 catch guys for 550 yards or whatever you're looking for. But they're better. They're still not good enough at this level. They are not. I think the O-line can be top. I think the offensive line could actually be pretty good.
Yeah.
With the depth it has. It can be pretty good. Not great, not going to overwhelm anybody, but pretty good. I think the wide receivers, the ceiling is
no one's
decent.
losing sleep. Yeah, no defensive coordinator is going to lose sleep. No cornerback's going to lose. Is going to be nervous lining up against anybody, from what we've seen so far. But they've got 24 practices between preseason and game week of Duquesne. I mean, and then you talk about LSU week to figure it all out. So, but yes, they are. But I mean, Pokey's better than he was last year. I think Malik McLean's better than he was last year. So I mean, those guys alone, and then obviously, with Deuce Spann, he's better than he was over spring. That's for sure.
And I think Pittman and Johnny Wilson are, they're different. I think Johnny Wilson's a difference maker. I think Pittman definitely is a difference maker. They're good. I just don't want you guys to think that Micah Pittman is going to be Peter Warwick. He's not. He's just better than what you've had. So if he can be your number one, if Pokey can be your number two or your number three, if Johnny Wilson can catch 16 first down balls and 7 touchdowns, you're better than you were last year. You don't have to be perfect with every throw. You don't have to scheme up every throw. But there were 2 plays in their one-on-ones. They'll do double moves on one-on-ones. They'll do post and then look like they're doing a post and then go back to the corner. It's tough. It's a tough deal for the DBs. And they'll get open. Like nobody covers Ja'Kai Douglas one-on-one. They just don't. He's too quick, and he's got the whole field to work with. But man, you have to, on a 40-yard passage to Ja'Kai Douglas, and we've seen him. Miami, they remember it. You have to drop that bad boy right in the bucket because my man's 5'8". He doesn't have what I like to call, Aslan, a great catch radius. And so you hope that Malik McLean, you hope that Deuce Spann, Johnny Wilson, these taller guys can get on the field and actually give you a deep threat that you haven't really had since our man Tamarian Terry left.
Malik McLean's the most deceptive. I think he's only listed at 6'2". He's listed at 6'4". Never mind. I could have sworn he's listed at 6'2" because he looks every bit of a.
And I looked it up. Brock Bowers is only 230 pounds. Does that guy look like Brian Courtney? Like I mean, maybe I'm just got my red and black glasses on, but I just looked it up. He also had 55 catches for 880 yards. If Courtney has a year like that, gang, we're going to the Orange Bowl. We're going to be in Miami on New Year's.
All right, let's double dip in here. We'll go to our guy, Dixie Knoll, and we'll also take Sky Ninja's question here. Dixie Knoll's from Oconee. Is it Oconee County? Home of Brad Johnson and one of the founders of Zaxby's. Shout out.
It's really close to Athens.
Yeah, it says right outside of Athens.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even see that. There you go.
What do we want to see week 0 to walk away optimistic about the what's coming ahead for this season in the LSU game? Also, go Braves. I hope they can wrangle the Mets, he says. And then Sky Ninja asking
their chances.
And then Sky Ninja asking for the score of the LSU game. I don't really know. I mean, listen, they go out there and win 55-3. That's great. I mean, it really is.
What's weird about it, though, is say they go out there and win 56-6, and they just completely dominate them like they did. Who was that team last year they played that they beat the tar out of?
UMass.
Yeah. No. And this team is better than UMass. But if they win a game like that, you're going to be like, well, what did that tell us?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? You're not going to really take a lot from it because you're like, man, Duquesne must be terrible. And then if they struggle and only win 20-16, you're going to be like, oh God, this team is not anything close to what we wanted. So it's like there's not really a right answer there. I don't know that there's anything that you would see in a 56-6 game or a 20-16 game or a 42-14 game where you're like against Duquesne where you're like, yep, they got something for LSU. I just don't think you do.
They lost to TCU 45-3 in week 1. I think it's obviously going to be a micro sort of analysis, right, Corey? It's keep Jordan Travis absolutely clean, not because he needs to be protected at all costs, but just be the offensive line that we're talking you up to be. You should be able to block FCS guys on the whole.
Yes.
I think they'll be able to run well. And then no crazy lapses in coverage, which, again, we've seen an improved secondary. We didn't see a lot of that in the second half of the season. But, let's not get any crazy lapses. Like,
don't you think it becomes more what you don't want to see? Like, I could have a list of 1,000 things for, like, what you don't want to see against Duquesne. But there's not really, you know what I mean?
I want to see a defense that creates turnovers. I want to see aggressive coverage from cornerbacks, breaking passes up, tipping balls. And I want to see an offensive line maul under, a team that they're superiorly more talented than.
I want to see A.J. Duffy play. That would be a good sign if A.J. Duffy's playing.
All right. What's the score of the LSU game? 23-20 Florida State.
Well, he didn't say you had to give the winner. I'm going to say 30-21.
Okay. Swipe left on Aslan. Thanks. Thanks for your $1, man.
Isn't left
bad?
oh.
You don't like it means you don't like me. So you swipe left. Swiping right is
swipe right is like let's do this. Swipe
Yeah.
left is like see ya, on to the next one. I got you.
Yeah. But they look like they're good games. So all right, ring, which I don't know if that's a Willie Taggart era homage or just the way they want to open this thing up. But they say ring, longtime listener, first time on 3 subscriber, Sir Corey and Aslan. Who has been each of your biggest surprises so far in camp? Personally, it's Brian Courtney for me, based upon what I've read from Warchant and other sites on the beat. So
I want to say about him, and I forgot to put it in the dang observations because I couldn't find it in my notes. But he had like a 35-yard catch in, I think it was one-on-ones. Maybe it was in the 11-on-11 in the early stages of practice. But I just remember the ball being thrown kind of lofted to where a tight end would be. Not giving away any secrets here, but lofted to where a tight end would be. Him kind of speeding past the linebacker and adjusting to the ball in the air and hauling it down over his shoulder. And I can't see anything, folks. My eyesight is terrible. Aslan can attest to that. I'm always asking him what number was that? Who was that? Who made that play? I didn't have to ask anybody who that was. There was no other tight end it could have been. That he really does stand out from an athletic standpoint. He's just to me, he just looks like a natural pass catcher. Now he did drop one today because they all did, but he just every day he kind of you know he's not Brock Bowers, he's not jaw dropping, but you notice him in his athleticism.
Tommy Ortner. As of right now, what player on this current team do you see becoming the highest draft pick? Doesn't matter what year. Azarie, right?
Yes, but I will say this, and I would tell all of you to go watch the Fabian Lovett video that we put up today from his interview after practice, because I don't think I've ever heard a senior defensive player talk about a freshman offensive lineman like Fabian Lovett talked about Julian Armella today. He could not be more impressed with him. The way he is physically, just physically, he just said he works hard. He is really physical at the point of attack. He wants to get better. And he's like, he just could not. And I was just asking about like who, I even gave him a guy to talk about, Bryson Estes. And he didn't take that bait. He went with Armella and he said Julian Armella. And then he just could not say enough really positive things about that guy. And who knows better than me? And about a future of a kid, who knows better than Aslan or Ira or Jeff or anybody else you want to put listen to on the FSU beat? Fabian Lovett does. Fabian Lovett's gone against all college offensive linemen for 4 years now. He knows what a good one looks like. So that was really encouraging the way, and we've seen it. You know, Armella's put some guys on their backs. He's also gotten beat. He's not dominating, but he's putting some guys on their backs and really playing physical and just, you know, the way they talk about him is he's an extremely hard worker. So that's really good news.
Redbeard asks, Corey, do you have the champagne on ice for the big win over LSU, or we go room temp?
I was thinking I can't do champagne again, right? Like, wouldn't it have to be something like New Orleans specific, like a hurricane?
That's really sticky. That might even be stickier than champagne.
I get,
people beignet, just stuff a beignet in your mouth and just start spitting out the powdered sugar. You know?
Perfect. We'll come up with. It won't be champagne. Stephanie still has that bottle, by the way. She keeps, because she's such a goofball, she keeps saying that she wants to auction it off, and I'm like, babe, no, this isn't like Leonardo DiCaprio drank from this thing. It's some bald idiot poured it on himself. You're not going to get any money for that champagne bottle. That's a crazy thing to think. But so anyway, she'll probably have it forever. And yeah, I'll do something. If they beat LSU, I'll pour something on myself.
Okay. All right. Oh, whoa! Who's this guy? Who's this? Who's this guy? I don't even know who they are. But what? Let's go! What? $100 from Malachi Jacob Perkins.
MJP.
All right, I'm going with Joel Davis of the Jacksonville. All right, so that's the kind of company our guy.
Well,
Joel.
come introduce yourself.
He said he'd buy you guys some Jacks tickets if you want to go to the game that night. I thought the Jacks were playing tonight. They're going to turn around and play another one in a week. Look at that.
Well, that's how football works, Aslan.
I know, but like I figure when you play the Hall of Fame game, you get like a little bit more than a week off.
No, I would really, I appreciate the offer, but I do have to get back to Tallahassee. Plus, I can't watch even if I didn't have to get back to Tallahassee, a Jacksonville preseason game. But man, I really would though, but just because Joel is the man, I would do that. But I can't, I got to be back in Tallahassee.
Josiah, if you can hear me, let us know if Malachi's a good dude in the private chat. I mean, I'm sure he hangs out with your dad. I wonder what his avatar is. It looks like somebody number 7 Florida. It's got the old logo.
Yeah.
And the number 7 at the forefront. But anyhow, all right.
Travis Hunter.
Hey, Malachi, welcome, man. Thank you very much for that. That's awesome.
Thank you, Malachi. I look forward to meeting you in Jacksonville.
Yeah. All right, let's keep it with quarterbacks. Let's go back to the Tribal Council. Nole fan 624, wake up, first-time poster but long-time listener. Started listening preseason 2018. Originally from Port St. Lucie, moved to Charlotte because I had options. Thought it wouldn't be cool to live near the ACC championship game so I could watch FSU all the time. Sorry, man. Sorry, bud. His name is Vincent. Sorry about that, Vincent. But all right, I like this one. Here we go. It sounds like Tate Rodemaker's made some strides this offseason based on everything I'm hearing. Am I wrong to have hesitation in believing that given the way things looked when he got put into the games last season? I don't want to be one of those don't believe it till see it types, because I do trust your opinions. But when we threw Milton in against Florida after some of those failed Tate drives, if I remember correctly, that felt like absolute desperation. Keep up the great work. Happy to be on Warchant. Thanks for that promo. Couldn't say no to $1 for a year. Drink your DeLuna and eat your Zaxby's. Go Noles.
I thought it was the other way around. I thought McKenzie went in first and then dropped the snap right away and did some other things. And then they brought in Rodemaker. It's what I remembered.
I'll look it up. I got to that game late. Got caught on traffic on I-75.
He didn't miss much. Yeah. No, man. And you wouldn't have known this because I basically just said this like 10 or 15 minutes ago. I'm not a full believer in the kid until you do Under the Lights. That goes for all of them. Like other than like Azarie, just because I think he's going to be a star player, like a really good player. Everybody else, you got to see him do it when it matters. That's why Jordan Travis, we've seen him do it when it matters. Not to, the Jameis Winston level, but we've seen him go win games and make plays. We have not seen Tate Rodemaker do anything really. So no, until you see it, until he does it and builds off it and does it again, you can't be a full believer. I'm a believer that he's better. I'm not a believer that he's an absolute winning quarterback until we see him go win games or make plays in games. Because practice is different. They make it challenging. They put pressure on these kids, but it is just different than even playing Duquesne. It is different. So that's I will wait to see, just like everybody should. He is better though, but that doesn't mean he is good enough. We have to see.
Yeah, looks like second drive of the game, Jordan goes out, and then Mackenzie Milton comes in. His first play, 16-yard run Mackenzie Milton had.
Would have been an 80-yard run with Travis has been in there.
Yeah. Then Mackenzie, and then he gets intercepted, and then 3 plays, -8 yards from Tate Rodemaker. Wow, what a game that was. Yeah, hey, again, I was very bearish. I was not buying into the Tate Rodemaker stuff that we saw in spring, but I'm seeing more of it in more throughout practice. I mean, listen, everyone's got highs and lows, but I'm seeing in the one-on-ones with the way he's placing the ball. We're seeing in the 7-on-7s. We're seeing in the team periods. We saw some of it in the spring. Again, he's carried it over to this part of camp now. So, yeah, listen, again, everybody hope for Jordan Travis to stay healthy. He's your best shot at this thing, it feels like right now. But if some reason Jordan was to go down, it's a night and day backup now. I mean, last year, it just, Mackenzie Milton just didn't have the juice any longer, man. Nothing, there's no shame in that. What he came back from was incredible. But yeah, Tate Rodemaker, I think at some point will enter a game this season to raucous applause.
If you get, I don't know about that. That means that Jordan's playing terribly. Why else would you cheer Tate Rodemaker running on the field? I would say, the one thing he does better than the other two is he gets the ball out in practice. I'm talking about now him getting the ball out isn't quickly for a 4-yard pass. Maybe isn't as big. It isn't in the grand scheme of things as valuable as Jordan Travis buying some time and then hitting a 50-yard play because he avoided a sack, or hitting a 40-yard run. I mean, big plays are big plays, but if you give Tate Rodemaker time to throw the ball, he looks like he can see it. It just feels like he can see it. But again, he's also, he's not going up against the guys that will probably be starting at Florida State on defense. So there's that too. But I'm trying not to take away or diminish how he's looked, because he has looked good. He certainly looked so much better than he did last August. I'm telling you, last November, I'm like, why is he here? There's no way he's going to finish his career here. And now now I think he probably will, and he might start next year.
Yeah. I mean, again, these are good data points for Mike Norvell too. If Tate Rodemaker develops, because that's a guy that he went out and got last minute, his first recruiting cycle. If a guy like Brian Courtney works out, that's somebody that wasn't on anybody's radar. So these are a good data.
You know what? It'd be cool to start getting guys that are on everybody's radar.
Right.
That's when you're made it, when you actually start getting the guy. And no offense to Rodemaker and Courtney, they might both end up being very good, but you also want to get the guys that are on everybody's radar. Speaking of, isn't there like a big-time receiver that's going to be committing in a couple days that has Florida State on his radar?
Yeah. Speaking of which, apparently our guy Malachi is a big Michael Langston fan, so I'm sure Langston will have plays on that. He's still with us at Warchant, so go check that out. Him and Austin breaking things down. Redbeard asked, so do you guys think less than 6 wins, would that be the end of Mike Norvell's tenure in Florida State? I would say like 51-49, yes.
Yeah. Again, I hate couching it. If they go 5-7 and 6 of their losses are by 21 points, yeah, probably. I don't think you could. I mean, if they're losing games by 3 and 4 touchdowns again and just look like they're being overwhelmed, there you go, Sampson. I think he's from Baton Rouge, which, we'll see how that goes. But hey, a couple of famous guys in Florida State history from Baton Rouge, including Warwick Dunn and then Travis Minor. It's been a minute since they got, the best player in Baton Rouge out of Baton Rouge, though. So yeah, if that happens, but what if they go 5-7, Travis gets hurt, they lose 4 games by a field goal, they're in every game, they beat Florida, but they lost these other games by a field goal. I'm not saying you should keep a guy around that cannot win more than he loses after 3 seasons. I get it. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you'd have to think about blowing it up again if you think you're close. If you think you're close and you're just getting a little bit unlucky, but he's got everything in place, you're just getting a little unlucky, maybe. But I think you'd have a very hard time 4-8 bringing somebody back after a 4-8 season, after 3-6 and 5-7.
Before we get to Marcus's question, Reliable Resellers asked, if we go to the SEC, do we have to chant SEC at games? Which I say no. That should be our different. We should be like the villains. Like we should be like no. Like we're. I
can't imagine, unless you're doing ironically, that any self-respecting Florida State fan would ever chant SEC. You just can't do it. We have made fun of them for so long, and those crazy fan bases that they all pat themselves on the back for Alabama's trophies. There's no way you want to join that. There's no way. You don't want to be in the Gator Bowl or whatever it's called now, and you beat Michigan State 31-6, and you're chanting SEC. Get out of here with that, man. Chant FSU. You already got one. Just chant FSU. Do not chant SEC ever. You're not a self-respecting Florida State fan unless you're doing it as a joke. I can get behind that and being ironical. No. You're not a fan of the conference. You're a fan of your team.
Ironical, is that a word?
Probably not.
Okay.
I think Marcus it is.
Marcus asks, how many points do you want to see in the first half against Duquesne to feel good about the team's improvement? Duquesne beat Ohio last year. Ohio, the Bobcats, Athens, right. Ohio. And TCU only put 45 up against them.
Yeah, I mean, again, it'd be hard to say. I know nothing about Duquesne. The defense they're bringing back. I know the coach has been there for 16 or 17 years. They've been a playoff team a couple times. Not the FBS playoffs, obviously, gang. 28, man, I don't know. 27. If you can hit your season average from last year and a half, you might feel pretty good.
Okay. Let's take this one from the Tribal Council just because it helps feed my ego a little bit. It's Dothan Knoll. Wake up, guys. Long-time listener, first-time poster. Show makes my morning drive bearable to Fort Rucker. He's new to the Warchant family. Couldn't pass up the amazing dollar deal. It's for everybody. It's for everybody. Yeah. Everybody. Currently, I'm in Dothan, birthplace of Lawrence Dawsey, but a more recent alum of the Circle City peanut capital of the world is a sports media powerhouse who went by the pseudonym Aslan Hodges. Confession time. When Aslan left and the ESPN radio affiliate shuttered in Dothan, that was a dark time. It's hard living in Roll Tide country where it seems like everybody has selective memory, forgetting the glory days of FSU, but I found Wake Up, and things have been far better. Awesome. I'm glad it worked out for you. Appreciate the kind words. Anyways, want to ask a question about special teams, which seems like a special concern for FSU. Can we kick? Can we return? What's going on there? Is there hope on the horizon? Thanks for all the great content.
I mean, they make some kicks. They seem. I haven't been tracking them, but Fitzmagic has made some kicks. He missed a 55-yarder today, but he got it. He got it there. Now it was going kind of sideways, but he did get it there. He kicked it long enough, just not straight enough. We don't know about returning. There's no way to know. They don't. And I'm not being like secretive or anything. Clearly, I don't do that. They don't do live returns where there's people being tackled. I don't even know if they've done like full 11-on-11 kickoff return, punt return stuff yet. They're working on specific stuff. They're basically working on the guys catching it the way they want them to catch it, like momentum going forward. They're not. So it's hard to know. They got guys that so far have caught it and run forward, but we don't know if they're going to be able to return any better than last year. So it would be nice if they could, though.
Hey, it's been a long time since we heard from our guy Jay in Daytona Beach. He laments taking players from Jacksonville State with 2 career interceptions, SMH. That would be, I think, Malik Feaster is his name, from Jacksonville State, defensive back. He's
in. He's official. Yeah. He's in today.
Yeah, he's ready to go. I don't know, man. Yeah, if CJ Campbell isn't on scholarship, I might have liked to see him get it, but they already had a bunch of running backs on scholarship. I like what they have at defensive back, but obviously they see, listen, man, we spoke to Adam Fuller at the luncheon, and I was surprised when he mentioned, kind of, the numbers game or what they want to get out of the second. I thought he would be gushing about them, but maybe it's just his New England sort of gruff exterior that he's just not very,
right.
Doesn't get very excitable about things. But
ask him about like Carlton Fisk or somebody. He'll go on for days.
Yeah. So
David Ortiz.
Yeah. We've got Randy Shannon, who dedicated his life to beating us. We've got Kewan Ratliff, who did his darndest to beat us in 2003.
Right.
And now we got a guy who, was part of the most.
I want to ask him how long he was on the field after the win. I guess it was 45 minutes. It's certainly, it's like an old home to him. They were on the field for so long after that game. I want to ask him how long he was on the field. I would say this. I get it. I would say the SMH could also be for losing to Jacksonville State and going 5-7 after going 3-6, after going 5-7. All of this is a big SMH right now. But that it's not like, I don't know what else they would have done with that scholarship. I guess they could have given it to a walk-on, but if you have a guy that can give you depth, that you think can give you depth and maybe playing a pinch, maybe just help on special teams, and you have a scholarship available, it's not hurting anyone. He either works out or he doesn't, but, we're hearing they've already a week into practice, so it's not like there's a lot of other groceries on the shelf to go get. There aren't many guys still in the portal, so we'll see. Maybe he ends up being a contributor, but even if he's not, it's a 1-year rental where otherwise that scholarship was going to probably maybe even not be used.
Yeah. Mark Linder's in the house asking, what does Trey Benson look like catching passes? Who will be the most dangerous out of the backfield catching passes?
I would say
pretty natural.
I would say Toafili. I've seen him he had a long touchdown catch a couple practices ago. Had a really nice catch today on a ball that was not thrown all that well. It was like a 3rd and 5 play for the whole drill. They just did 3rd and 5 plays. And he caught one and kind of out in the flat running towards the sideline by his knees, and turned it up for a first down. And Micah Pittman, who was not on the field with him, came out and gave him a big high five after the catch, which I thought was cool. It was kind of a, it was a first down, but it wasn't that big a play. It wasn't a big touchdown, but Micah Pittman was excited about what he saw with a teammate and told him. So I'd say Toafili or Ward, maybe Ward just because he'll be on the field more, I would think, than Toafili. But I'll be honest with you, I don't remember seeing Benson catch more than a couple. Not that he can't. I haven't seen a lot of it.
Well, period 4, if you watch our practice videos, so we filmed period 1, which is mainly stretch, period 2, some individual stuff like pursuit drills, turnover, ball security drills. Period 3, they do a tempo, like no huddle, maybe like 50 seconds. Yeah, 11 on 11, 50 seconds on the clock. We used to be able to film that. They don't allow us to. But then period 4, when the quarterbacks are out there, they're just throwing like pretty much swing passes and routes that a running back would run just against air. So there's some footage of Benson out there. He looks quite natural doing it, but when it comes to the 11 on 11 stuff, we really
I just haven't seen it. I haven't seen it much in the it's not like he's batting them down, or like Akeem Dent is a freshman. I haven't seen him drop any. I just haven't seen. They just haven't. In my recollection, I don't remember him catching a bunch of passes, but that doesn't mean he can't.
Mark Linder also asked if he was mistaken. He thought that Tate Rodemaker was Mr. Georgia football. I'm trying to search on Google. I can't find that, Mark. So you might be mistaken, but we do appreciate the question, man. Thank you very much. Let's hop back to Warchant. Sam Stye, 52, wake up, first-time poster, long-time listener, Tally native. Welcome, man. I'm sure you took advantage of the $1 deal. Everybody that's on the website is only paid $1, which I don't know how I'm going to keep my lights on with only $1 for a year out of you people, but we'll figure it out.
When we'll be fine if we get 500,000 people to join.
I'm kidding, everybody. We'll be all right. All right, what's your favorite non-championship team? He says 2010 FSU because we beat Miami and Florida by a combined score of 76-24. Well, and he says favorite non-championship team. He puts in parentheses ACC or national. So I guess.
So they didn't win either. Yeesh.
Yeah.
Well, then I would have to go back to like the start of the dynasty before they were even in the ACC. So 80, I would say 89 probably.
Okay.
I think 89. 87, 87 was a better team, I think. But 89, they lost those 2 games to start the season. And then old P.T. Willis, who was out at practice the other day, led them to 10 straight wins. Terrell Buckley was a freshman. Leroy Butler, Hall of Famer Leroy Butler, was an All-American on that team. They won those 10 straight games. They beat Miami, who ended up winning the national championship. They beat the bejesus out of Nebraska in the Fiesta Bowl. I was in the Peter Tom Willis threw for like 500 yards in a game. And this was back when teams didn't do that. Threw for 400 a couple other times. Like, he was awesome. And they had the Fab Four. That was probably my favorite team outside of one of the championship ones. But 2010 is a good, man. They just had, what was the loss they had that was 2010 was the loss at NC State, right? When Ty Jones hit blindsided Ponder. Yeah. Like, if that play didn't happen, I feel like maybe that would have almost been my answer. Yeah. But that play happened, and it was so awful and such a ridiculous loss. Because he was open, Aslan.
He was.
It was a great call by Jimbo. Great call. They had run all the way down the field, essentially, and the play action is wide open. It's going to be just lob it up to him, and that happened.
2010 is probably the right answer because you also beat South Carolina in that bowl game. The losses were so gross, but the wins in 16 were pretty cool. I mean, like, we thumped Florida, we beat Ole Miss, we beat Miami, we beat Michigan. 4 really good quality wins, but the North Carolina loss.
Well, the Louisville loss was just
obviously, yeah. And then the Clemson game, like, if that game, if Freddie Stevenson doesn't get that phantom call,
maybe.
What a year that would have been. All right, let's go to our guy, random_John. He's been crazy busy at work the past few weeks. He almost missed posting on the ponies, but he says that he thinks he saw you before your gallbladder surgery over at Market Square.
My harrowing gallbladder surgery. Don't take that out. You're right. It was harrowing, but I'm through it.
Were you there, Corey? Were you at Market Square in the last few weeks?
I was with Bill from Corner Pocket and some friends from the owner of Corner Pocket was there. We had gone out to dinner, and then we went over there for a little nightcap.
Okay, thanks for inviting me. I informed my wife that the person's Corey Clark. She said, go introduce yourself. I didn't. The way I see it, if you're hanging out in your personal life and I see you, I don't feel it's my place to intrude on your time and go all fanboy. So let me ask you, what is proper protocol for introductions for meeting the famous Warchant staff out in the proverbial wild of Tallahassee?
It's a great question. Aslan, you've seen me out in the wild where people will come up and say something to, well, both of us, really. But as long as you're nice in even if you think I'm an idiot, you don't have to tell me that. And thankfully, nobody really ever has. But as long as you're nice, and you don't pull up a chair and say, "Hey, we're talking football for the next 45 minutes," which I'm happy to do. That's not like, but if I'm, but in some scenarios, if I'm with other friends, maybe I'm not. But I'm always happy to talk to people, and I would never be like, "Yeah, thanks, man." I'd get up, I'd stand up, I'd shake your hand. I know your name. You're not, and you wouldn't be random anymore. You'd be John, the guy I met. So no, I think with all of us, if you're just pleasant and we're there, we will talk to you. We're not standoffish or aloof.
We do a podcast, man. We're not, we're not.
Well, come on now. And I forgot to say this: no eye contact, and maybe send over a proxy to see if it's okay first before you come and introduce yourself. Send like if you'd have sent your wife over. That I think that would have been and I would have sized you up. But no, always anybody. This goes to anybody. Come over and say hello. I'll promise I'll be nice.
All right, let's bang out some more questions on YouTube and then wrap things up. By the way, our guy Spartan Noles 71, Ralph over at warchant.com. He's here in the chat as well. We don't have details yet for the LSU game, which we're working on it. Trust me, I know we're getting close there. I mean, we're a month away. We're 30.
Yeah, but I think my feeling is you're going to be in New Orleans either way. It's not like anybody's delaying their trip to New Orleans to figure out where the Warchant get-together will be. As long as y'all are in town on Saturday, you're there, and so just plan on being there Saturday, which you were already doing that anyway. So we can wait till Friday night. Yeah. Could be a speakeasy somewhere.
All right, let's bang this out in Antonio, guys. Where would you rank Jordan Travis among ACC quarterbacks?
Middle of the road, 6th, 8th, 7th.
I know I'm a Florida State alum. I'm on a Florida State show. I can't say I would take the guy from Miami over him.
Well, yeah, you can, and you would.
Okay,
it's fine.
I don't know if I would take Malik Cunningham over him. I would take Devin Leary.
You take Sam Hartman from Wake.
I saw the Wake Forest thing, the ACC network. Man, Sam Hartman didn't even complete 60% of his passes, but he had like 39 touchdowns. I want to say.
I think you can take that. I think you'll probably take that.
Yeah,
you would also take the wide receiver he has.
Yeah,
that torched Florida State last year. I would say those. I think I would probably take Cunningham. I think he's proven more as a passer. That doesn't mean that Travis can't outplay him. But yeah, at least those 4, right?
Yeah, and then I don't know, man. Some people might say like Keaton Slovis, but I wouldn't. I want to take him over Keaton. I would keep Jordan over Keaton Slovis, who was at Southern Cal and is now at Pitt.
And the kid at Virginia, right?
Oh yeah, Brennan Armstrong. He's man.
We don't think about him because Florida State doesn't play him, but he's somebody I think you would take over him too. But if he can be, man, I think if Jordan Travis can be 5th or 6th best quarterback in the ACC, I know that might make some people gag, but it's a good quarterback league. If you could be top, above average in the ACC, you got yourself a pretty good quarterback. He doesn't have to be the best quarterback in the ACC. He just can't be the 11th best quarterback in the ACC.
Yeah. Chuck and Monique Williams, with the signing of another cornerback and so much depth, are we looking for someone to transfer? We don't get Mike Norvell tomorrow, but he's usually pretty cool about swinging. So they gave us a schedule at the beginning of camp, and basically we get Norvell one day, and then we get an assistant coach the next day. But Mike's cool enough to kind of walk by and be like, "Hey, you guys have any questions?" And he's playful about it. And he usually goes to the podium and
tell him what he did 2 days ago when he wasn't supposed to speak. He wasn't scheduled to speak, but he said he'd stop for like a few questions if
someone could name the hometown of Malik McClain.
Yeah, if any of the gathered media, there's like 20 of us there. If any of the gathered media could name the whole town of Malik McClain, he would answer a few questions.
And, Corey crushed it.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, if he'd have asked me where Keith Jones was from, could have gotten that one. Not Malik McClain though, but it was answered, so he got a few questions.
Yeah, so we'll ask him. I don't know if I'll ask him a question. I won't ask him if he's expecting somebody to leave, but we'll ask him about why they might have felt the need to go after another cornerback.
I think that's a fair question because they got a lot. Did he figure that was a position of need? I think that's a fair enough question. Again, it might have just been, he's out there. He's a decent player. Everybody needs depth everywhere. What's the harm? But yeah, he might have had a real specific reason.
Look at Tom Warner. He thinks Jurkovec From,
him too. BC's a good. I mean, I don't know if I wouldn't say he's the best QB in the ACC, but he's good.
All right, and then let's wrap it up with Miss Carol Palalis, or Ms.
I
Carol
guess
Palalis.
Jerkovich was really good before he got hurt, right?
Yeah,
And then he was not good against Florida State.
Yeah, no,
but that was his first game back, and he was working on one leg. It seemed like.
Yeah. All right, what's your take on Deuce Spann as a progressing up and rising receiver?
I think there's a lot of potential there, Carol. I thought he had his first rough day today, Thursday, but I think he's got some stuff to him where you can if you start projecting the potential, you're like, yeah, he can help. He might even be able to help this year. He's just got a long way to go to be like what and he might not ever get there. Like a game-changing receiver, it's going to take a minute. Like he just hasn't ever played the position, so there's some things about the position that just aren't coming natural to him yet. I shouldn't say aren't coming natural to him yet. You just learn by doing, and he hasn't done it enough to learn about leverage, getting inside a corner, body position. They threw a fade up to him, I thought, today, and he did not look like he just hasn't run that route a lot. He's not maybe a natural at some of that stuff. He just has to work at it a little bit more. But man, that size and speed, it translates. He's not just a guy that runs really fast against air. He runs really fast in 11 on 11 when other guys running after him in full pads.
Well said. I agree. It's I think it's an enticing option that he's got like 24 practices probably when you combine Duquesne and then the LSU week. Not 24, but they got 13 left here, and then 4 for Duquesne. Yeah, whatever. But yeah, he wasn't factoring into my plans, but I think they've figured out ways to put the ball in his hands, and when they've done that, he's done good things offensively. So I'm excited to see how that kind of all shakes out. We're done for the week. This will be the Friday podcast. We still have a bunch of questions on the Renegade Express. We'll try to shoehorn those in some way for the Monday show, which will have observations from Friday's practice and maybe some takeaways from the scrimmage. We will not be able to watch the scrimmage, but we'll be able to speak to Norvell and the coordinators afterwards. So we should have some stuff to bring to the table, but it'll be good. We'll have everything over on the website before then, but check us out on Monday. Before then, though, again, we'll have observations, practice footage from tomorrow's practice. Michael's got you covered on the recruiting front. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 3 o'clock, 93.3 FM, as well as here on YouTube TV. And folks, again, we appreciate the folks that throw tips our way. That's really cool. But you know what? For $1, you can also curry good favor with us by going over to warchant.com and signing up.
And that's what you got to do. You can't go to a bookmark that was on your page because you've been going to Warchant for 10 years. You can't just go to your bookmark and it's there. You got to go actually type in Warchant, and it'll take you to the right site. Aslan, you need to be sure to bring some DeLuna with you to Jacksonville for Joel and Malachi.
And this,
you know what I'm saying? And the pillar. Absolutely.
Thank you to Joel. Thank you to Malachi. Thank you to Sky Ninja. And thank you to Mark Sermons, as well as everybody for their comments and keeping things rolling here. If you could hit the thumbs up on the way out, that'd be really cool too.
And subscribe. It really does help. Subscribe. We need to keep we're already got like 30-something thousand. We're just going to keep going, though. We're going to the moon. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe.
Stay connected to warchant.com. We'll have you covered from Friday's practice. For Corey, I'm Aslan. This has been Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill and our good friends as well over at DeLuna Coffee. Check them on out, DeLunaCoffee.com. Have a great one, everybody.